Welcome back, everybody, to Watcher of All Things. My name is Kiki, and this is my podcast where I talk movies, TV shows, and all things entertainment. And today, they have returned somehow due to the power of the movie studio. It's episode 77, where we're talking Jurassic World Rebirth, a movie I feel like there was a crazy fast turnaround on this. Like, didn't we just talk about, like, Jurassic World Rebirth finding Gareth Edwards as the director a few months ago? Like, we're going to talk about it today. So much to talk about in the news. Literally, as I finished recording last week, a giant piece of news dropped on social media, and I was like, you have to be joking me. So lots to dive into today. Before we get into that, I hope you are all doing well. What an insane week it has been. A lot of new subscribers or people listening, I suppose, because my DC video that I made last week, it sort of blew up. It's at like 14,000 views right now on YouTube, and I got 150 subs from it. So welcome, everybody. It's very cool that I hit 500 subscribers. Very exciting. If you haven't watched it yet, go check out my Goodbye DCEU, Hello DCU video. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed making it, and there's a lot of really fun comments to engage with underneath, so go check that out. Also for today, timestamps below. As I say always, if you don't want to know anything about Jurassic World Rebirth, completely skip the review section. Just go to What Else I Watched, where I have some fun stuff to talk about. But before we even get to the movie review, let's jump into the news. All right, well, the big piece of news that literally dropped an hour after I finished recording last week is Matt Reeves and Mattson Tomlin officially posted the Batman 2 script, or they posted a photo with it in the foreground, and they're sitting in the back showing that the Batman 2 script is finished. They posted in their caption, "Partners in Crime" in bracket fighters. It was long rumored that the script for the Batman Part 2, which it's officially called Part 2 with the Roman number 2, I believe. So it was long rumored that it was actually supposed to come in on Memorial Day. Some people said no, it's going to come in June. I love that there's just so much hypotheticals about a freaking script. Like, it's insane how much scrutiny, how much gossip, how many rumors there are about a movie script and like a movie being delayed. Sometimes in, previous years, you wouldn't get a sequel for like 5 or 6 years, and that was completely normal. Aliens didn't come out till 6 years after Alien? Like, it's not that big of a deal, and it's kind of crazy how much they're just scrutinizing everything. Matt Reeves, why is he taking so long? And James Gunn has just been fighting for him the whole time. He said in a funny interview last week, I think he's like, get off his nuts or something like that. And you'll get it when you get it. You're not entitled to anything. And it is strange how I think fan culture, we are very entitled to movies now. Like, if we like something, we're like, oh, well, we want it right away. Now, there is the opposite end of that, where in TV, we're waiting 5 years for Stranger Things between seasons, and every episode is like a movie length thing. And it's kind of, let's not go down the Stranger Things hole today. Okay, I could complain about Stranger Things for like an hour, but with this movie, think of how turbulent the production was on the first one. Part 2, they're trying so hard to get it made, and they finally have. Some people said, oh, it's canceled, but I don't know if I ever believed that. I was just sort of worried that, well, what if it is canceled? Like, that's gonna suck. But at the same time, I think the Batman by itself with the Penguin show would have been like a perfectly fine standalone thing. Now, the interesting part of this as well is that the script announcement thing dropped like on Friday afternoon, and then right away that evening, the Hollywood Reporter does this thing every week called Heat Vision, where they drop basically the biggest gossip on the Friday or like the biggest rumors of the week. And they posted this official statement from the Hollywood Reporter, said, "You guys can stop asking James Gunn about this now. The Batman Part 2 script is in. Filmmaker Matt Reeves revealed that he and co-writer Mattson Tomlin have turned in the draft, sharing an image Friday of them with the script." In brackets underneath that little description right there, it said, "But you can ask Gunn about who's writing the Brave and the Bold movie, because we're not convinced there is one." So the Hollywood Reporter is sort of insinuating that there's no Batman the Brave and the Bold film, or there's no writer, because James Gunn has talked about, the writer of the Brave and the Bold film, and he hasn't named anyone yet. I don't know, what is the state of that movie? For those who don't know, the Brave and the Bold story is based off Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin, or the Brave and the Bold, where it's Batman and his son, Damian Wayne, who he had with Talia al Ghul, or Natalia. So, Bruce had that kid when he was like, I don't know, probably 32, or no, it had to be in his 20s. I would say mid-20s, early 20s, something like that. And then by the time, he's approaching his 40s as a crime fighter, Damian shows up and he has to start a new Robin. There's already a Nightwing. There's already a Jason Todd or Tim Drake, depending what timeline it is, I suppose. But that is kind of the plan, that they were going to do a Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think the original schedule was 2020 2028, directed by Andy Muschietti, but James Gunn has only said that Andy Muschietti would have first dibs on the project. So, once the script is written, they might show it to Andy Muschietti, and if he wants it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Or the studio is just going to say, look, Andy, we love you. You did The Flash, which was, a very interesting movie, to say in the least, and we're going to go in another direction, which I think is probably the case. And let's just go down a crazy theory path, but I think the craziest theory is that Matt Reeves does the Batman Part 2, which takes place like a couple months after the Batman. Then for a third film, they have a huge time jump of like 5 or 6 years or something like that, and Robert Pattinson, that's the first film with him in the DCU as Bruce Wayne Batman, and we see Damian Wayne, and he already has his Robins and stuff like that. I don't know, I think that's like no chance, like 99% chance not happening. And one of the things I mentioned in my YouTube videos that I want Robert Pattinson as a DCU Batman, and there were, I completely understand both sides, that people don't want him, because originally I did not want him. I thought that's a bad idea and we're going to mess with Matt's vision. But I think just folding him in, not only is he a great actor, but it kind of solves a lot of headaches. And there were people who agreed with me, which, it was interesting what they had to say, but there were a lot of good reasons why it shouldn't happen, and I completely get that. But I think at this point, they're maybe having a tough time casting their Batman, because I don't really know who they want to get. Of course, there's good actors out there, but it's just like, you have a really good Batman. The public would probably not get that confused that there's two Batmen, but it would be annoying. I mean, they just dealt with that with The Flash. There was two Batmen in that film, plus Robert Pattinson's Batman had already come out. So I think people could handle it, to understand like, oh, this is the DCU Batman and this is a separate Batman. Like we've done this with Spider-Man, where there's an animated one and a live action one. People get it, but I don't know. Anyways, enough the Batman news. I talk about it every week, and it's going to be one of the topics when I'm on vacation, of course, which is only a few weeks away. Let's move into another story that sort of broke last weekend and sort of shattered my heart a little bit. So My Time to Shine Hello, who is the scooper on Twitter, said Vin Diesel has confirmed that Paul Walker's character Brian will return in the final Fast and Furious movie to reunite with Dom. Oh boy, are they, I'm hoping, going to use the same technology that they did to finish that movie, which even then I'm like, why? It was tragic. Like, let him rest in peace. Don't resurrect his body. There's a lot of people that are concerned that AI will be used in some way or another. I hope it's not like generative AI to make him not look like a ghoul, but this is kind of, I mean, we've seen this thing in Hollywood before where they bring a dead person back. Rogue One did it, of course. I hate it. It's so creepy, and there's like an elasticity to them that is just so clearly unnatural. I thought it was terrifying in that Fast and Furious movie where they brought Brian back, or they finished the movie with him rather, because Paul Walker died like halfway through filming or something like that. Yikes. I don't think this is a good idea, Vin. Let it go. Let family rest in peace. So according to IndieWire, Jennifer Aniston will expand her Apple TV empire with an adaptation of Janet McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Apparently it's going to be a 10-episode series at Apple TV. Janet McCurdy, if you don't know, she's a child star. I know her from iCarly. She's done a few different things acting. She was one of the Nickelodeon stars that was essentially abused and groomed and treated very poorly growing up, not just by Dan Schneider or whatever that guy's name was, but her own mother, who very clearly abused her, and she wrote a very fascinating memoir that I've heard little chunks of, or I've read little chunks of just online, about her mother's relationship with her and her mother's abuse and their, final years, and how she's kind of reflecting on the whole child star. It was pretty remarkable. Like, it made me want to read the whole book, and maybe I will someday. I think it's fascinating, the projects that Apple is greenlighting. Like, there are very interesting concepts that they're going for, like the studio, like Severance. Of course, Severance is such a fascinating sci-fi endeavor that they're going through, but also this, that they're moving into a little bit more of like the, I don't know, biography almost. I feel like they have done something kind of biographical or autobiographical. Either way, Jennifer Aniston, very interesting that she's doing another Apple show. She, of course, did The Morning Show. Is that done? I don't know, but she's been nominated for it like every year at the Emmys and Golden Globes. But a show that I reviewed not even 3 days ago, and I was like, oh, if we get a season 5, it'll be interesting. Well, The Bear has been officially greenlit and renewed for season 5. It's going ahead. I won't spoil it. I won't say, I won't spoil it. Okay, I won't. All I'm going to say is I'm very interested to see where they're going to go from here, who's going to be on the show. Nobody dies. Obviously, they don't kill anyone in the final episode. It's not something super dark and depressing. I'm just very curious where they're going to go. I have an idea of what they could do, but it felt like a very good, fitting ending with the season 4 finale that I was like, oh, if this is it, I will be happy. But like I said in my review on social media, which you can go check out, like, if we do get a season 5, obviously I'm going to be there day one. Like, look, I like all 4 seasons of The Bear. Season 1 was Carmi coming back and kind of facing these scars that he was ignoring. Season 2 is him tearing everything down, trying to forge new paths, but also still dealing with mental issues. And then season 3 is, facing failure and guilt and having to do soul searching. And I really like season 3. Then season 4 is the healing journey and realizing certain things in your own life, that things do change, priorities change, your desires change, and that's okay. That's part of growing up no matter how old you are. And every character kind of goes through these different things. There's just a lot of really great stuff in season 4 that I loved a lot. And I love every different season of the show. They all feel very different to me, and that's what I enjoy. Like, it's such a well-written show. There's so much heart to it, and like, yeah, sure, it's about a restaurant, I guess, but I like that it's about the people, seeing their journeys and them succeeding, them failing. Like, it's very big, the swings that they take in that show, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited for season 5. Obviously, we're not going to get it for quite a while because they filmed season 3 and 4 back to back. So I feel like maybe we'll get a time jump in the show. Like, we might get like 2 years later, big updates with the restaurant, or, no updates with the restaurant, or are they going to immediately jump on it? Everyone's kind of a big star in the show now. Like, other people are getting big roles. Like, Tina is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I mean, Ebon Moss-Backrash is huge now. Io Debris, rightfully so, is getting so many opportunities. She's awesome. Like, everyone in the show is just brilliant, and I'm so happy that they've all gone on to these giant things. But let's go into our final story of the day. It is official that Neil Druckmann will not return for The Last of Us Season 3. Craig Mazin will write all episodes of Season 3 himself. So Naughty Dog put out, "We wanted to let you know that studio head Neil Druckmann delivered the following message to our team this morning. Quote, I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us HBO. With work completed on Season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on Season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. Oh boy, I think this is bad. I think this is like going to be Walking Dead situation where they really leave the original source material and just kind of run with it. But at the same time, I think he still is sort of producing Season 3 in some capacity. So he is going to have a say. Maybe they'll approach him for his opinion, but I think this is bad. Like, this is going to be, I think Season 3 is going to be very bad, and I am worried. Like, Season 2 is a very mixed bag for me. I reviewed it on the show. Go check that out. That was a lot of fun to talk about, and I worked through some of my issues, but just like rethinking it, I have no desire to go back to Season 2. Season 1, I would rewatch in a heartbeat. I think it was just like every episode 10 out of 10. Whereas Season 2, I liked it for probably the first 3 episodes and the last 2 episodes, but there's such a gap in between where the quality is just not there. It doesn't feel focused in its narrative. I feel like there's not a clear goal of what needs to happen. It's a lot of just kind of wandering around Seattle. And I worry how Season 3, the perspective change, and I won't spoil what changes for Season 3, but I do worry the massive focus is going to lose the audience, which the audience was already kind of gone for Season 2. But I think that's all I got for the news this week. We got the Batman Part 2. There was some more rumors and stuff like that about Bond, but I don't know. Apparently some people think it's going to be Tom Holland for sure, which we're going to talk about Tom Holland today in a little teaser that I saw before my movie. But again, timestamps below. If you don't want to know anything about Jurassic World Rebirth, go straight to what else I watched. I have some fun stuff to talk about there. Just enjoy the non-spoiler section. I keep it very non-spoilers, just talk big picture and stuff like that. But let's do this. Let's talk Jurassic World Rebirth. Jurassic World Rebirth is a 2025 action sci-fi film coming in at 2 hours, 13 minutes. It is directed by Gareth Edwards, not Gareth Evans, who I believe I said in a previous video or something like that. That is not right at all. Gareth Edwards, I'm kind of shocked. He hasn't directed tons of movies. I thought like, oh, he's been around forever, but he's done Godzilla 2014, Rogue One, sorta. The Creator was a movie he did a couple years ago that honestly I think is so underrated. Like, I don't know, there's script issues there, but I think like the story is very lovely and the creation of the world, the creation of the creator is very good. It's written by David Koepp, legendary writer who did Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1, Black Bag just this year. Great movie, The Black Bag, if you haven't seen it yet. Budget was $180 million. Again, it's opening on a Wednesday. It's going to have the big 4th of July run-in. I think a lot of people are going to go see it because it is getting some interesting reviews, which let's talk about. The reviews, very mixed. This is literally the definition of mixed. 6.3 on IMDb, 51% on Rotten Tomatoes with 72% audience score, 2.8 average on Letterboxd with a 3-star mode, a B on CinemaScore, which if you don't know what CinemaScore is, here's how I understand it. They survey people that are walking out of movies and they ask them to grade the film, and that's how they get a CinemaScore. It has a B score, which is not great, but not awful either. I think if it was like a C plus or whatever, B minus, a B is perfectly okay. Plus it's Jurassic World, which my theater was freaking packed. I'll tell you all about that. But synopsis for Jurassic World Rebirth. 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, covert operations expert Zora Bennett is contracted to lead a skilled team on a top-secret mission to secure genetic material from the world's 3 most massive dinosaurs. When Zora's operation intersects with a civilian family whose boating expedition was capsized, they all find themselves stranded on an island where they come face to face with a sinister, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. It's so funny. I literally, from all the trailers, had no clue the civilian family was in this, but they are a giant role in the film, and apparently they're in the synopsis, so silly old me. The film stars Scarlett Johansson as Zora Bennett, Jonathan Bailey as Dr. Henry Loomis, Mahershala Ali as Duncan Kincaid, Rupert Friend as Martin Krebs, Manuel Garcia Rolfo as Ruben, Luna Blaze as Teresa, David Lacono as Xavier, Audrina Miranda as Isabella, and a couple other players. Actually, Ed Skrin was in this. I had no clue. He's not in any of the advertising. Big cast, but what do I think of Jurassic World Rebirth? Here are my initial thoughts. Just a big sigh. Like, I don't know, it's fine. I get, like, it's not fun. It's not interesting. I don't know. I was sort of entertained, I guess, in spurts. There wasn't like a huge walking away feeling where I was like, okay, that was at least fun and I had a great time. I was like, there were moments where it almost worked. It feels like a greatest hits, but it's very blech. I don't know. It looked so pretty, but the story never went anywhere for me. It never really approached anything interesting. Let's talk about a couple of the performances, however, because I have a big problem with the cast of this film. Starting with Scarlett Johansson, I think it's one of her weakest performances I can remember since, The Phoenician Scheme this year. I thought she was terrible in The Phoenician Scheme, like she was just barely trying and phoning it in. This movie in particular, it feels like Scarlett Johansson is just like, go girl, give us nothing, if you guys know that trend from Twitter. Brutal. Like, I did not connect to her character at all. It felt like she's minimally trying. There's nothing captivating about her character. Then there's same with Jonathan Bailey, who, like, look, Jonathan Bailey is drop dead gorgeous. He has a very charming accent. He's 37, and I think he could be a great James Bond, to be honest, but I thought he was very plastic and bland in Wicked. This movie, like, he's kind of fun in a couple moments, but he's doing an American accent in this for some reason, which I don't think is necessary. There's some weird thing in Hollywood where it's like, oh, we have to make this character American. When people from different countries work in different countries, why can't he be a British paleontologist or whatever, or scientist, because probably every second sentence in this film, I could hear his British accent slipping in. Like, it was glaringly obvious. He's doing the Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange accent, the Hugh Laurie Dr. House accent. Like, it's just every second word I'm like, oh, there he is, he's very English, and his character's just kind of bland, and yeah, I don't know, he's drop dead handsome, so at least, like, it's a very hot cast in this movie, like Scarlett Johansson is insane. Mahershala Ali, I think he's kind of boring in this as Duncan. It's just like there will be this huge action set piece moment, or he'll say some quip and then everybody just laughs after. That's sort of the pattern we keep following, and it really bothers me at times. And I don't know, the whole civilian family, straight up, I didn't give a shit about them. I was just like, why are you guys here? But let's talk about the story. Enough about the cast. I don't care. The one cast member in that family that I want to talk about is there's this guy, Xavier, this teenage guy, and it feels like he's written by a 70-year-old. I might jump into that, but the story is just like Jurassic World Dominion in the sense that it's two movies sort of forced into one that occasionally, yes, do work well together, but it felt a little bit too separated, and it felt like the film was spread very thin and very underdeveloped. I'm shocked how quickly, like I said at the start, after Jurassic World Dominion, I'm very surprised how quickly this film came together. Like, I feel like it was announced a year and a half ago, oh, new Jurassic World movie, and there were rumors about who's directing, who's writing, and that they were going to take parts from the original Jurassic Park book, and I was like, okay, interesting, but I feel like maybe we should have had a little bit more time between these films because this story was very underdeveloped. I feel like it's very undercooked, and there's not a lot to really sink your teeth into here. Having said that, I think Gareth is a gifted director. He's done a lot of really gorgeous work, and he has a really good visual eye, but he has done a lot of middle of the road films. Like, nothing that is absolutely knock your socks off fantastic. His filmography, I don't know, like Godzilla 2014, very mixed reception, I would say. Rogue One, very difficult production process where there were rewrites and Tony Gilroy sort of directed it, I would say. The Creator didn't blow people away, like got 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, didn't really make tons of money, I don't think. So I think visually, he's one of my most, admirable directors. I love how he directs films, how everything looks in his films, and how he works with cinematographers. I think he was even director of photography. What movie? Maybe Rogue One? No, not Rogue One, because didn't Greg Fraser do Rogue One? I know Greg Fraser did The Creator, and that movie is absolutely gorgeous. Like, as soon as it finished, I was raving for weeks about, like, oh, go see The Creator. It's like one of the most visually interesting films we've had in a little while. I think Gareth Evans does sci-fi really well. Like Rogue One, there are a lot of really fun parts in there that apparently he was mostly responsible for, but I don't know, his work doesn't ever blow me away. Cinematographer, it was John Matheson who worked on this film. He went God mode. This is, in my opinion, the most gorgeous Jurassic Park movie in the franchise. It's the most gorgeous Jurassic film. I love the original. Like, honestly, I used to watch it so much as a kid. This movie, they shot on 35mm film. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. Like, the colors, there's this really, like, just hazy, sweaty, orange, nature, tropical feel that I enjoy a lot, and I think it brings a lot of, the spirit of the island, kind of, and that it is this very hot exotic because all the dinosaurs are around the equator, sort of, or they're all staying in this one location because it's the air or what, I don't know, some bullshit like that they wrote. But anyways, Fraser was probably busy on Project Hail Mary, which was filming last year, and actually the trailer played before this movie. Holy moly. And actually, let's talk about the score for a minute for this film. I think there are very interesting moments where they're incorporating the original theme, John Williams' Jurassic Park theme, very well. But then there were a lot of other moments, and I have seen people praising the score. I think there are some moments where it works really well and it's very effective emotionally, but there were a lot of moments where I felt the music is not matched to the emotions here. At least they don't do any needle drops, which I appreciated. Like, the music they do play is in the world, and at least it's part of it, but they're not like just putting in needle drops over the film, which we're going to talk about, and what else I watched with another movie I watched this week. But the score was a very mixed bag for me here. I want to take a moment to just talk about my audience reaction and my screening, because every Jurassic World movie has made $1 billion. It's insane. All three Jurassic World movies made $1 billion. Even Dominion, which came out in like 2022, was the worst reviewed of the three, I think, by far. It just passed $1 billion. So going into this, I was like, oh, it's projected to do well, but I feel like it's going to be one of those cases where you show up on the day, nobody's there. Like, it's not doing the numbers that they wanted, like The Flash, or there's bad word of mouth because it did get mixed reactions. Couldn't be more incorrect. I saw it in Laser Ultra at like 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Absolutely fucking packed to the brim. Like, no seat empty in my entire screening. There was a 5-year-old beside me who was chewing Doritos so loudly. Every time there was a tense moment in the film, he thought it was quieter to chew it, like with his mouth open, a little nibble at a time, and it was like And there is a joke in this movie with one character chewing on Altoids/mints, and I was like, wow, this is very meta. This is a very 4DX experience for me. My God, people were fired up to see this movie at my theater. Not only was there tons of people wearing Jurassic Park t-shirts, but this movie got a huge round of applause when it finished, and I was shocked. Like, wow, I haven't had that in a while, of an opening night, a movie just getting a thunderous applause. I can't remember the last time that happened. Maybe F1 last week. I can't remember. I think more people just after F1 were like, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. And, it was a lot of just F1 fans in the room. So, of course, they're going to be blown away. But Jurassic World Rebirth kind of shocked me. Like, oh, people really love these movies. And I feel like a lot of us don't properly estimate how beloved this franchise is, including myself. I was just like, oh, shit. Like, people are very committed to the Jurassic World franchise. And I just want to say, like, this screening had one of the best runs of trailers and teasers I've had in a little while. Actually, I don't know, because when Mission Impossible was coming out, there was that trailer, Superman, Fantastic Four, and a couple others that I was like F1. I was like, oh, these trailers all look fantastic. But this movie, I had Project Hail Mary, which I think, in my opinion, looks amazing. We had Edgar Wright's The Running Man, which to me also looks like dumb, very fun, stupid slapstick stuff, which I love about Edgar Wright. I love his films. I even liked Last Night in Soho, which I think is his most like mixed film kinda. Then we had Superman, the final trailer, which I think people got a little bit buzzed for, which was kind of fun. And then we had the final Fantastic Four trailer, which people definitely got buzzed for as well. Just like Superman, I heard a lot of chatter like, oh, we gotta go see the blah, blah, blah. So it was a good run of trailers. And then, of course, why is everyone going to see Jurassic World? Because Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, the first teaser was attached to this film. Now, I'm a dummy. I haven't really had teasers attached to films before. Like, I've never really experienced that. A lot of people went and did that with one of the Jurassic Park movies in the 90s, that people went and saw it because maybe it was Jurassic Park 3 because they wanted to see the Phantom Menace trailer. I was like, well, I'm mainly motivated to go see this, not just because I'm reviewing it for the show, but because the Odyssey teaser is going to be shown in theaters. They show all the trailers, then the house lights go down, and I was heartbroken, like, oh my God, they're not going to show the teaser, are they? Of course, Landmark is not going to show the teaser. Then I see that Universal Sin copy. Holy fucking shit. The Odyssey looks like nothing Nolan has ever done before. I'm a huge Nolan fan, of course. Like, he's been one of my favorite directors my entire life. I've loved his movies as long as I can remember. Like, Batman Begins is one of my earliest theater experiences. When I was 5 years old, my dad took me. The Dark Knight, I saw it at a midnight screening in 2008 where I won a costume contest, got a huge prize basket, and I got free popcorn at that theater for life. They then closed down. Very depressing. Obviously, all of Nolan's films have been like very attached to. Tenet is one of my favorite movies. I freaking love Tenet. I love how convoluted and complicated it is, that it's not a movie you think about. It's a movie you just enjoy and feel. Oppenheimer fucking blew my mind. My favorite movie of that year. So needless to say, I was very fired up going into this, and holy moly, it looks fantastic. I wanted to stand up and give a standing ovation for the Odyssey teaser because it was genuinely like one of my favorite theater moments ever, of like, oh, this is so cool seeing a teaser for a movie coming out exactly 1 year from now. Like the July 4th weekend next year, it's going to be Spider-Man and the Odyssey coming out together. Ugh, amazing. But maybe we should get back to Jurassic World Rebirth, a movie I did not cheer for. Originally, there was a plan to have a mating scene in this film, which they ultimately cut. I don't know if they filmed it, but it was written in the script. They removed it. Low-key, I think they should have had it, because there's only one scene of wonder, or like miraculous, it's a miracle that these dinosaurs are still here and they're gorgeous creatures that are misunderstood, which is like one of my favorite elements of the first Jurassic Park movie, is that we shouldn't have brought these dinosaurs back. This is a human mistake. We've created these things that were extinct for a reason, and we're playing with evolution. And this movie, I feel like, I don't know, they're just kind of creatures in the background, which, you know, let's talk about the Jurassic Park and World movies treatment of dinosaurs and how it's really just changed over the years. In the first movie, it's very clear, and I love Dr. Ian Malcolm is like one of my favorite characters because of that one conversation he has in the room where there's like PowerPoints everywhere and they're debating over a meal, sort of the ethics of Jurassic Park, and Dr. Ian Malcolm just basically comes down on Hammond and says, you've played with evolution, we should not be bringing them back, and we cannot play with the food chain. We cannot play with the evolutionary process of our planet. You know, there's all this talk about humans getting technology and using it for the wrong reasons and exposing themselves. And you kind of even see that, as bad as these movies are, in the Jurassic World films, in the second and third one with Dr. Ian Malcolm. Every time Jeff Goldblum is on screen as Dr. Ian Malcolm, I think he is saying something very fascinating about the evolutionary process and how humans, you know, whether it's atomic bombs, AI, how we take weapons or how we take new technologies and immediately we sort of use them for criminal purposes, and we always just use them for power. There's no new revolution that is just used for straight up good. Everything that we use in this world is like, how can I co-opt this for power? And I love that about the first Jurassic Park movie, is like, this is all monetary. You're willing to toy with evolution because of monetary reasons, Dr. Hammond. But in this movie, you know, Jonathan Bailey's character has some moments where it's like, oh, maybe he does really appreciate dinosaurs, and the public interest in dinosaurs is very much waning in this film. Like, sort of the idea, they get him to join the expedition because they're like, look, the public doesn't care about dinosaurs anymore. Like, they're not selling tickets to this museum he works at. And he's like, this is your chance to see the animals you study in real life, and maybe this cure we're trying to get or whatever could spark a resurgence in interest or whatever. And Jonathan Bailey's character has like 3 scenes in this movie where he is so like caring of the dinosaurs, and he thinks about the good of the dinosaurs and how misunderstood they are. But every other scene, they're just trying to kill dinosaurs in this movie. Like, they are literally fighting dinosaurs like they are the creature of the week, treated like these monsters that humans deserve to be saved from when you guys created them. Like, if anything, you guys should go extinct. Having said that, the CGI of the dinosaurs themselves is fantastic. Like I said, I think this is the best looking Jurassic World or Park movie. The CGI on the dinosaurs was top notch, A+ from start to finish. There was never a moment in this movie where I was like, ugh, that doesn't look great. This is visually such an impressive film. There is a lot of like wonder and wow, like this is gorgeous. And even the dinosaur moments, there are little moments where you're like, this is a beautiful thing to witness. They have the theme playing. There's these dinosaurs that we get to look at, and I'm like, okay, like there's a very sparing little moment of wonder that we get. However, they do try to give us this little, what were those things from The Last Jedi called? Porgs or whatever? Porgs, right? The little creature things, or Babu Freak in The Rise of Skywalker or whatever. They are trying to give us this little toy animal thing, like you need a little cute sidekick that you can market on and that you can sell toys, and oh, this movie is for kids. And they do that with this little dinosaur. It was one of the most infuriating things about this movie, that like, oh, the little girl in the family has to have a dinosaur. But as much as this is a potentially kid-friendly movie, the action of Jurassic World Rebirth, I have to say there's pretty good action in this movie. Like, there were moments where I was getting a little bit tense. Like, I was like, oh, this is like semi-interesting. I think the problem with this movie is between the action, I didn't give a shit about anyone or anything or a remarkable single note of this story. I did not care what was happening on screen. I was frankly bored 40 minutes into this movie. It doesn't ever feel like, oh, there's a reason this franchise is back. It was like, yeah, there's a mission that I guess makes sense and dinosaurs still exist, but it wasn't like, thank God we have the Jurassic World movies back because this needs to exist. This is a great story they're telling. It's like urgent and it's talking about things. The themes of this movie are kind of barely thought out. Like, there is kind of medical equality within the world and like healthcare for all, probably mentioned in 2 scenes. Other than that, it's just like, there's this group that is doing a Jurassic World adventure. That's it. Just enjoy it and shut up. And I was like, all right, fair enough, I guess. Like, we're just here for the action. And again, very underdeveloped. Like, they weren't like, what can we say with this movie? What can we really push forward with an agenda? There's maybe 3 scenes where I was like, all right, maybe we are going to get something from this movie, but no, it's just like, oh, there's monsters, they're dinosaurs, everybody run away. Also, it is a very sexless film. They are trying to tease romance in this, but my God, is it stiff, and it's all very manufactured and just doesn't go well. There's not a lot of cast chemistry here of the romance that they're trying to set up. I don't know. It's just like, if you have 3 extremely attractive stars in this film with Mahershala Ali, Scarlett Johansson, and Jonathan Bailey, and yet I felt like this is completely sexless. I was frankly shocked because the marketing, they're like trying to tease up the romance and the sexiness of its stars, but also the PG-13 rating, I think, really holds back this movie. These movies, Jurassic World, do something different. Go for the R rating, because the violence, if you want to make these creature movies where it's like, oh, they're tearing everyone apart and they're killing everyone and they're these terrifying monsters that we need to be careful of, just go for an R rating. Like, there's no point in making a PG-13 where we're cutting away every time time there's something bad. There's no blood. Like, people get chewed on and yet there's no blood. Like, they would be gushing. I don't know. It's very strange, and it's one of those movies that could frankly just go for more gore. If you're not going to care about the characters or the story itself and you just want to have, oh, dinosaurs on screen, I get it, but you may as well just go full throttle and go for the R rating. Let's rank the Jurassic Park movies, okay? I think that's a very important thing that we need to do today. So there are 7 Jurassic World / Park movies, and in last place I have Jurassic World Dominion. Fucking mess of a film. I watched it this week and I have never been so bored by dinosaurs in my life. Then I'm going Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the sequel of the Jurassic World movies. I don't know, there's like some moments. There's that one moment where they leave that dinosaur on the island as the volcano's erupting. Made me very sad. Otherwise, I just straight up do not care at all about these characters. I think Chris Pratt is so unappealing as the lead. Then I'm going Jurassic World from 2015 by Colin Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow is one of the bad directors of our time. Then I'm going Jurassic World Rebirth, right down the middle. I think it is a middle of the road, okay, like somewhat entertaining at times, but still a bad movie. Then I'm going The Lost World Jurassic Park, the sequel, which I think is like a pretty entertaining movie. I like the shift of focus and characters. Second place, I'm going Jurassic Park 3 by Joe Johnston, who of course did Captain America, the First Avenger. Then of course, the greatest of all time, Jurassic Park, dude. That movie is just unbelievable. First place, never goes wrong. But let's hop into 2 stars and a wish for Jurassic World Rebirth. Star number 1, straight up gorgeous movie. Shot in 35mm film, amazing cinematography, color grading, everything. The night scenes, you can see everything so well. It's so well shot. I think there's some great directing in the action and stuff like that. It's just a very well put together movie from a visual perspective, I guess you could say. Star number 2, there's some fun action and some fun suspense at times. Not enough, but there are moments in this where I was like, oh, this is like pretty good. Like the middle part of this movie I think is pretty good. My wish, just make us care again. I don't care about any of these characters. Don't just make dinosaur movies because it's like, oh, dinosaurs are monsters. Like, no, these are very misunderstood creatures that have been brought back to life after being extinct for thousands or millions of years. It just, how are we still screwing up dinosaur movies? Like, it's so easy, and yet we're still making bad Jurassic Park movies. But look, overall, it's far from the lowest of lows we've had in this franchise with Dominion, but how are we still not able to make a good one of these? I think it does have some moments that fans, like hardcore fans of this franchise, will probably enjoy. I did not love it, but it was ultimately a letdown. I went with 2.5 stars. I just think it's a very hollow, kind of soulless, lacks magic Jurassic Park movie, which, why isn't it called Jurassic Park Rebirth? I guess because it's not a park, it's a world, but I think that's all I have for non-spoilers. Let's jump into spoilers. All right, spoilers for Jurassic World Rebirth. You have been warned. What do I want to start with? Well, I want to start at the end of this movie because no one dies, or no one meaningful. There's a couple of crew members like Ed Skrin and the 2 others on board that get eaten, of course, because they don't have plot armor. The plot armor in this film is frankly astonishing. How easily the other crew members die, how this family survives despite everything. This is one of the great plot armor films of our time. I could not believe how they are surviving these situations, how people are just like rock climbing and free falling and all this stuff. It was frankly masterfully done, the plot armor from David Koepp. So what are the motivations of our characters going into this story? Well, Zora is like a spec ops, or she's a security person is what she says. She helps people get things that maybe they shouldn't have, or she helps governments or stuff like that. I don't know. But anyways, her motivation going into this story is on her last job. She lost her friend, like her friend died. I don't know how she died or something like that. I don't know. She burned or parachuted. I don't know. I honestly couldn't remember. Like, there was just one scene in this film where it was the only time in the movie where we kind of just like trauma dumped between Duncan and Zora. That's Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson. I was shocked that they were just like all of a sudden like, yeah, I lost my friend on the last job. All of a sudden being like, okay, let's emotionally open up and then never talk about this stuff for the rest of the movie. So Zora lost her best friend on their last job, so she has some guilt and hesitation about getting back in the game. Like, okay, fair enough, but it sort of never affects her for the rest of the movie. I think there's 2 scenes in this film where we see her like regretting or facing things that are issues in her life. I don't even know. Like, she seems fine for the rest of the film. Like, she wouldn't be someone to me that I'm like, oh, did you just lose someone? Like, that's so sad. She's completely normal for most of the movie. Duncan, he lost a child or something like that on a job, or he just in general lost his loved one and his child. I don't know. The kid beside me was crunching so loud during the scene that I sort of like went out of focus. I was like, wait, what did they say? Because all I heard was like, Jesus Christ, kid, it's a Dorito. But anyway, sorry, I don't mean to yell at a 5-year-old. It was just very frustrating. Like, you don't have to chew that loud. But that whole scene where they're on the boat, everyone else is sleeping or outside or whatever, and they're chilling, the two of them, it's Duncan and Zora. This felt like the scene where David Koepp was like, oh, I forgot that everyone actually wants to care about these characters. That's one of the 3 scenes where I was like, oh, maybe they're trying to get at a theme, or they're trying to get at a way to make people care about this movie. Like, we need the trauma dump of their histories. We know from the opening scene, or the second opening scene, that Zora lost her mom to heart disease. Okay, that's why they're making a heart disease drug, or that's why Rupert Friend approaches Scarlett Johansson. And it's just, it was a lot of like really just quickly mention backstory and then move on. Like, it wasn't really sitting with people's emotions or continually revisiting and making it the motivation for this. The motivation was just that Scarlett Johansson's character wants to make money on her last job and retire, which, fair enough. You want to get that payday. But that's when Jonathan Bailey's character is like, oh, well, what if instead of you taking a massive payday, and what if instead of giving this, I don't know, miracle cure or whatever, the blood that they're trying to do to synthesize from these dinosaurs, what if we just gave it to the world and we make it free? So there is your medical equality that they're trying to tease in this film, that they're trying to be like, oh, well, these people are good people. Jonathan Bailey, he cares about these dinosaurs, and maybe Scarlett Johansson isn't just motivated by money. And I get that, and I when they did introduce that, I was like, oh, I would actually love if this movie was way more of a push and pull between all of these characters, and them just like openly discussing like, well, Rupert Friend, you should be giving this to everyone, and talking about that kind of stuff. But I think he mentions it in that first scene, then there's like a midway point where they talk about it, and then it's not mentioned till the very last scene of the movie where they all survive. They're going away on a boat, except Rupert Friend. He gets eaten, of course. I like that they ended the movie on the boat, that we didn't need to go back to New York. We didn't need to see their lives play out. This movie was already a little bit longer than I thought it maybe should have been, but it was just weird, the kind of lack of themes, or just not saying anything particularly interesting in this film. Now, as for the island that they are doing this expedition or this mission on, now it's briefly mentioned in the teasers that I think Zora Bennett, Scarlett Johansson's character, says this was the original island where they did experiments for the theme park of Jurassic World. That would be the Jurassic World laboratory, which we see at the start of the film. That's that like red haze room where the guy gets eaten by the dinosaur on all the posters. That's like the first opening scene of the film, which was fine. I don't know. Just the whole first 40 minutes of this movie were a slog to me of, oh, we have to get someone eaten by a dinosaur to open the film. Then we have to introduce all of our characters. Then we need to have this slow, drawn out introduction to everyone before we even get to a dinosaur. I was not really entertained by anything in this film until the boat parts, where after they rescue the family, they start running into all of these ocean dinosaur type things. And I thought that's pretty cool. Like, that was a fun adventure scene or action scene where the one daughter almost gets killed and Rupert Friend doesn't go to save her. And that's like, oh, we're starting some friction between these two groups that they need to split up. So I can see some rationale in the story. But then it just kind of feels so underbaked, and there's like a hole in this movie where it's just not trying that hard for a long time. It's just them like, oh, look, everybody, we're walking through the island. Like, that should be enough. Like, there's just nothing to really sink your teeth into, no pun intended. I feel like I've said that twice now, no pun intended, but sink your teeth into like a dinosaur. And it felt like if it is this experimental island where they were developing mutant dinosaurs, I feel like we got one mutant dinosaur the whole time, but other than that, the rest of the dinosaurs all felt very normal. There was nothing about them that was like, holy shit, that dinosaur's a freak or whatever, except the one at the end, I guess, which almost looked like a xenomorph because it had that rounded head, and I was like, all right, that's kind of cool, the design of that one. And we're doing mutants again. I am glad, I will say this, I'm glad they stayed away from clones, human clones, and remember that whole thing from, what's her name, Macy or whatever? Dude, I'm so happy they decided to ditch the whole clone thing in the real world and be like, maybe we won't. And they didn't go down that avenue that Colin Trevorrow decided to take us on. Or no, the second film director, the director of the second film decided to go on. One thing in spoilers that I can talk about that I did like in this movie, that was kind of funny to see, we get a swimming T-Rex because the teenage daughter, she's going to get an inflatable boat across a river. Then you notice a T-Rex flips over while it's sleeping and faces her. And I was like, oh, this is like an actually scary moment. And you know what? It's not a mutant dinosaur. It's not some freak. It's not some clone. It's just like the classic T-Rex. I like that moment. And then it chases them through the water and you see the dinosaur swimming. Can real life dinosaurs swim? Is that like a thing? never knew that. And if it is, that's crazy because it looked hilarious. The T-Rex swimming, it has its little arms. Like, I know people will kind of goof on the T-Rex all the time because it has such little arms, but like, it really does have little arms. Every movie in this franchise, I always kind of giggle about the small arms on the T-Rex. It's like hilarious to me. I don't know, but I love the swimming T-Rex sequence, and I loved the sleeping T-Rex flipping over because I was like, yeah, how do dinosaurs sleep? It's like a horse. Like, how do horses sleep? I don't know. All right, I'm really going off on a tangent here, but okay, I do want to give some credit to this film that I don't think it's going for crazy, like, nostalgia bait. Like, yes, it is a greatest hits, but I think, I don't know, it's a very boring, bland greatest hits. Like, they do the flare thing, they have the music. To me, it didn't feel like overbearingly trying to be the originals. It's just kind of like a softcore reboot where they're like, okay, let's do a similar Jurassic World movie, and the whole thing itself feels like one big, I don't know, compliment to the Jurassic World movies. Are like the whole movie is just trying to be a classic Jurassic World movie. And like, fair enough. This movie, if I had to define it in 2 words, I would say course correction. This is a Jurassic World movie that's trying to ditch the Colin Trevorrow, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard era where they're like, oh, clones and all of this BS and locusts. Oh my God. We'll talk about it in what else I watched, but I can't believe the direction the Jurassic World movies went in. This one was very much just, let's get back to the dinosaur. Let's get back to some island adventures, and I'm fine with that. But having said that, there is no teasing of a future one at the end. I was surprised. I thought they were going to do some post-credit scene. I thought they were going to do some like, oh, there's more adventures to come. But I think they were kind of like hesitant because of the financials. They were like, let's only make another one if the money is there. So Universal did play it safe in that way, and I appreciated the ending from Gareth Edwards that they were like, let's just have them going away on a boat, that they're going to give the cure to everyone in the world and all that stuff. And I thought, okay, at least we got a happy ending. I was kind of pissed. Duncan, I was honestly touched by his sacrifice that he gives to save this family and save the little girl. Like, oh, he could save this child, and he draws the dinosaur away with the flare, and then he just survives. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's boring. They just like were too chicken to kill anyone important in this film because, oh, we need to maybe bring back Duncan for a sequel. So kind of a bummer. But I do think that's all I have really for spoilers. Like, this is one of those movies, and obviously we have it all the freaking time, where if you see the trailers, you kind of know every story beat in the film. Rupert Friend's the villain. There's a romance between Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey that at times I thought, oh, this might work, but then it's just so like random glares and little giggles, and they're both just barely trying in this film. So, you know, it's a Jurassic Park movie. It's a course correction. It's just like trying to give the hardcore fans what they want. It kind of does that. Like, I've seen a lot of middle of the road reviews that are like 3 stars, at least I was entertained, or even 3.5 star reviews that are like, you know what? It's better than what we've had in the past since maybe the first one. And I get that, but that's all I have for Jurassic World Rebirth. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments on Spotify, in a review on one of the streamers, or right here on the YouTube channel if that's where you're listening. But let's jump into what else I watched. Alrighty, what else I watched? Well, it's been a quieter week. I watched 4 movies, 3 TV shows, and I read 1 book. Look, guys, honestly, July, the What Else I Watched segment, it might be a little bit dry for the next couple weeks until I'm back, because I've been A, planning and getting ready for my brother's bachelor party. B, I'm going to Europe in a month, like for 3.5 weeks, so I am preparing the episodes for while I'm gone. I have 1 in the can, 3 to still record, and I was making a YouTube video for last week. I'm gone every weekend doing something, so you know, it is a little bit more time constrained, but still I am watching stuff. We have some fun stuff to talk about today. Let's start with the book Guardians of Nowhere, a Guardians of the Galaxy story that is actually part of the Secret Wars. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis, who we've read a few of his stories, whether it's New Avengers or whatever it may be, but I think, and there's a review on my socials every Sunday of comic books, of course, but I really think Brian Michael Bendis's writing style suits the Guardians so well, because I've said in the past that maybe my biggest complaint about Bendis's writing is how dialogue heavy and quip heavy his stories are for characters that, you know, they don't need to have a quip. Not everybody needs to be the funny guy. Book, I think it suits the Guardians so well. Specifically, I think he writes Rocket so well in the story, but it's fun to see a more like stripped back version of the Guardians for this book, because it is Secret Wars, so everybody's on Battle World in these different regions and war zones. So the Guardians are kind of broken up, like there's not tons of the members. I think there's only 4 four of them, where it's Rocket, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis. Like, we don't see Groot. We see Peter Quill in the last scene or the last page, literally because he comes from another battle world or another battleground on Battle World. Maybe are they going to use some of this stuff for the film Secret Wars and Doomsday, which is like out next year and the year after? I predict it will be very different from the books. Like, there might be a good core of the story that they still have, but I think they are going to have to change so much because of how the MCU has gone. And we're going to talk about the MCU momentarily with another thing I watched this week, but I want to get into good Guardians of the Galaxy books as well, because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Like, I think those are my favorite characters in the MCU, by far my favorite franchise in the MCU. I just think all three movies are so freaking dynamite. But let's jump into TV shows. I finished Survivor season 6 from episode 11 onwards, which was Survivor the Amazon. Oh my god, I completely blanked on what the hell was this season. I'm just watching them all so quickly. That's why I'm like, wait, where was it? So it's the Amazon, where it starts off as men versus women, and it's just so uncomfortable because every episode is just so sexual, and it's just the men talking about the women and their breasts and how they look, and they're talking about sex the entire time. Like, it's so perverted and feels so icky, and I get that's what reality TV was at the moment. Like, now we have Love Island and like trashy shit like that and Big Brother still, but Survivor was really trying to dive into the trashiness in these couple of seasons. Let's just talk about All Stars, because that is the next season I started. We watched Pearl Islands last year, my girlfriend and I, so I skipped Pearl Islands on a rewatch. I was like, I saw it 8 months ago. Started Survivor All Stars. Great season so far. I know who wins. It's Amber who wins, and I know Boston Rob proposes at the finale, but like, freaking cutthroat season with some very uncomfortable, sad moments, like Jenna quitting because she had a bad feeling that something was going wrong with her mom, who had been fighting cancer for a long time. And you know what? She made a good call saying, I need to pull myself out of the game, because it was like 8 days after she left, her mother passed away. That is so freaky. And I think it's one of those things in the universe that you just can't explain, that special connection between a parent and their child. And she's not the only one that quits as well. Sue quits because of how Richard Hatch treated her. I mean, straight up, that is sexual assault. I don't get how production didn't tell Richard, you can't be naked. Like, we get that you did it so much on the first season. It has no effect on the challenges. It's not really an advantage when you're wearing swim shorts. It's just, and apparently they buried the Hatchet, Richard Hatchet, who went to jail. A great season, a really cutthroat season. Final TV show I watched this week, Ironheart. I finished episodes 4 to 6. I think it was a perfectly okay Marvel TV show. I think it's very disconnected from what's going on in the movies, which I like. It follows Wakanda Forever, of course, and like Riri's suit and building all of that stuff, and I liked it in that sense, but it didn't feel like, oh, you haven't seen that movie, so you can't watch this. I was like, someone would get it, that she was involved with the Wakandans, and she's a smart girl, all this stuff. I thought the characters were really well written. It was like, it was fine. It didn't blow me away. I think Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto is kind of a letdown, that it's been teased for so long, and then when we see it in person, I was like, okay, it's just a guy that shows up in a parlor, and oh, he's a trickster and all this stuff, and it was just kind of lame. And I don't know, the action was fun. I liked seeing Alden Ehrenreich. I think he is such a good actor. I want him in a million more things. I know he's in that Weapons movie, the Zach Krieger movie. Is it Zach Krieger? That looks insane. I'm very excited for that. Alden Ehrenreich, I'll say it, he was good as Han Solo. Good in this show. The main girl who plays Riri Williams, I think she is so phenomenal. She brings like so much drama and heart to the show, which I really loved. So Ironheart, if you're a casual Marvel fan and you're like, maybe I'll skip Ironheart, I don't know. It's like one of the older Netflix shows almost in how disconnected it feels. It's an easy watch. You don't need to be caught up to absolutely everything. It was fun. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. But now let's move into the 4 movies I watched this week. 3 of them being the Jurassic World trilogy, because I had never seen any of the Jurassic World films. I was actively avoiding them like the plague. So we started with 2015's Jurassic World. Colin Trevorrow directing. Absolutely, what the hell was that? It is such a dull and kind of boring, strangely written like advertisement almost. I love how they have a joke that, Verizon presents X Dinosaur or whatever it is, when this whole movie is just showing Mercedes and Coca-Cola commercials. Like, this movie may as well be called Mercedes and Coke Present Jurassic World, because it's one big sponsorship. And I love that this movie about, corporate involvement in these adventure parks, and the hypocritical nature of this film itself, because there's clear product placements with focus on the Mercedes emblem on the front of the car every 5 seconds, and it's boring. I think the humans in these movies are just so unbelievably stupid. Every decision, I tried to calm down by saying, you know what, it's a movie, let's suspend disbelief, but some of the choices are just like inexcusable. Like, I don't even know. It's just mind-boggling. And Chris Pratt is such an unappealing lead. He has zero romantic chemistry with Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, I cannot remember the last time there was a romance on screen that I was like, this is absolutely terrible and does not work. Just a very boring movie. The brothers are so boring and annoying. The older brother is such an asshole to his little brother. Like, I just couldn't believe how bad of an older brother he was. I gave it 2.5 stars. I had no interest in it. Then, of course, I had to watch Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom from 3 years later, which was even worse. This is just straight up bad. And I just don't understand the obsession with making British actors do bad, generic American accents. Like, you have, what's his name? He's in like Hot Fuzz, Rafe Spall. He's a British actor, right? But he's doing such a bad American accent where he's like, hey, I'm American and all this stuff. And it just doesn't work. I hate the clone thing. I've already mentioned it in the spoiler section for Jurassic World Rebirth. But like, I was just mind blown that like, oh no, they're doing human clones. This is not gonna go to anything special in this series. And it never does. It's like, oh, this one girl is a clone and they have to look after her. And now they get to be parents. And they're like, oh, they're like Alan Grant and what's her name, that they have to be these parents to these children that they don't know. And now guys, it's so stupid. 2 stars. And then we finished on Jurassic World Dominion. Truly the lowest of lows. I'll read you my Letterboxd review, what I said. Beep, 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 beep. No pulse found in this pile of garbage. Jurassic World Dominion is remarkable because you get 2 movies in one, but the trick, neither of them are good. You also get 50 cast members, none of them interesting. And do you love dinosaurs? Well, we have bugs. Chris Pratt is not an interesting actor outside of Peter Quill. I'm sorry, but he has absolutely negative aura, no swag, no riz, no passion. It's a wonder to witness. Just truly remarkable how low the Jurassic World films went. And they bring back all of the legacy characters to do their own adventure the whole time, basically. And then, oh, they all meet at the end. Isn't that so much fun? Just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Colin Trevorrow should never direct another film. 1.5 stars. Finally, the last movie that I watched this week, the only new release other than Jurassic World Rebirth, Heads of State, starring Idris Elba, John Cena, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, Paddy Considine. Pretty fun cast. And you know what? I got exactly what I wanted from this movie. I was like, I just want a dumb comedy that is 2 actors that I like. I like John Cena and Idris Elba. I think John Cena has had a really remarkable acting career after wrestling, that he has just done very funny things. I love him as Peacemaker. And I said in my social media review, like, I think it was very clear 5 years ago when these 2 did Suicide Squad together that they are very funny and they have very good comedic chemistry. And I think it works in a lot of this movie. I just think there's a lot of plot moments and other actors who aren't doing their part. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, I think she's a very bad actress. But Jack Quaid is in like 10 minutes of this movie and he is hilarious. I thought his part was so fun as this like tech CIA guy that's a gun nut or whatever. If you're looking for a dumb comedy that you can just turn your brain off, look, I'm not really for turning your brain off at movies. I think movies should make us think. And I do think this movie is like almost saying some things about leadership and the world and stuff like that. But it's, my friend called it propaganda in her Letterboxd review. And I kind of agree because it's like, oh, the American president can be amazing. And America is literally a backwards country. But anyways, it was 2.5 stars. I don't think it's hurting anyone. It was stupid. It was some fun stylistic moments that I enjoyed, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. And that's been what else I watched. And in fact, I think that's going to do it for episode 77, Jurassic World Rebirth. Pretty much exactly what I expected from the trailers, and I got it. It delivered. Let me know what you thought of Jurassic World Rebirth. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it exactly what you thought, just like me? Where does it rank in the Jurassic World or Park movies, the Jurassic franchise? Give me your rankings. As always, please rate and review the show 5 stars wherever you get your great podcasts, like Watcher of All Things, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Acast. We are, of course, an Acast-produced show. If you're on the YouTube channel where we just hit 500 subscribers, very exciting. I'm looking forward to making more videos for you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us, watcherofallthings@gmail.com, and find me on social media. Instagram and Threads are at Watcher of All Things. The TikTok account is at watcher.of.all.things. I post videos on social media every single day. If I'm not, it's because I'm busy. Even on vacation, I'm going to try and make some little videos for you guys. But you can also follow my personal Letterboxd account, KikiJ70. That's KIKIJ70. Leave a comment under one of my reviews that you found me through the show. I will follow you back. Let's build a little community next week. It is perhaps the biggest episode of the podcast we've maybe ever had. Is that an exaggeration? I don't know. Other than Dune Part 2, this is an episode I have been looking forward to forever. We have finally got to Superman, James Gunn's Superman film. I am so nervous. What if it's actually a terrible movie and I've been excited for 2 years about a new Superman film? All of the promotional material I think looks fantastic. It looks like so much fun. I've heard very good things online from people that got to go to the screenings. Then I've heard other rumblings that, oh, people don't like it or there's some concerning things. I don't know what I'm going to think. I'm so scared for the embargo to lift. I just want to watch it myself and see if I love it. That's next week though. For now, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all for the kind words, all the support, all the lovely stuff. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.